Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to an extra video, vlog style, sort of. I'm just filming it on my phone, that I'm going to be doing for the upcoming Medieval-a-thon, which is being hosted by Holly over at Holly Hearts Books, and I'm so excited to actually be able to participate this year. I don't know what it is over the past few years, but May has always been a hard month for reading for me, so I'm amped to participate this year. So amped, in fact, that I have 2 TBRs. So what the Medieval-a-thon is, it is a month-long readathon that goes, you know, from May 1st to May 31st. That's what month-long means. Did you know? And it is, as I said, hosted by Holly, and there's a Twitter account where there's extra like little content bits and prompts and all that wonderfulness on Twitter that Holly herself runs. There are different prompts that you can do for your reading, and of course there are different levels of what you can be, essentially. So in previous years, I do believe she had more prompts of like clothing wise, where you could like build your armor and stuff like that. But this year specifically, along with the normal like nobility ranks, which I will go over, you have different professions that you can do, and you can like level up in them as you go, which is really, really fun and exciting. So one of the things that has stayed the same about Medieval-a-thon is that it continues with the nobility ranks as it has been for a long time. The nobility ranks is one thing that's always been there. So you start out as a prisoner at 0 red books, and you kind of make your way up through prisoner, peasant, squire, knight, noble, prince or princess, king, and then emperor or empress, right? So it like leads you up through those stations. And so if you read 7 books, you will be an emperor or an empress of your kingdom, which I think is pretty fun. And then of course, once you reach that status, you can do other stuff with it. So as a, you know, an avid reader, I know myself that I can read so many books when I put my mind to it. So I started off with the blacksmith profession because this one was one that actually appealed to me the most. So let's talk about the books that I have for that first. So level 1 is apprentice, your apprentice level. And for this one, you need to read a book with gold, silver, or bronze in the title or on the cover. And for that, I have picked City of Dusk by Tara Sim because it has gold on the cover. Like, it's all gold, and the letters, I guess you could argue, are silver. It's not embossed in any way. There is no specific embossing in this prompt, which is good. And I'm so excited to finally get my teeth into this beautiful, beautiful book. Then the next one up is level 2, a tool maker. And this one is read a book that you are scared to read. Now, I think that this one could probably work for it, and that is Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This book not necessarily scares me, but it does intimidate me, so I'm counting it for this because there's no other book that I'm like actually scared to read that I own. So I'm going with this one because it is weird, the writing is interesting, the story is kind of convoluted, and you don't really know what's going on. And I absolutely loved Gideon the Ninth, which is the first one to the series. So we're gonna be diving into Harrow for sure this month, which intimidates me, but it's gonna work. You know, it's gonna work. The next prompt for blacksmith level 3 is weaponsmith, which means you just need to read a book with a weapon on the cover. And for that, I've picked Kith and Kin, which is the first Critical Role official novel written by Marieke Nijkamp, and I picked it because it has multiple weapons on the cover. It has the dagger and the arrow, and it also has, of course, the Critical Role sword in the logo. So I'm going with this one, and it also has the same dagger and arrow on the back, which I'm just amped for, and I'm so excited to finally read this. You guys know how much I love Dungeons & Dragons, and I'm just amped to do so. The next one for level 4 is Armorsmith, and that is just to read a hardcover. So for that one, I have picked Gallant by V.E. Schwab, which I'm very excited to get to as well. I am going to be doing a specific reading vlog for like new releases, specifically for Gallant and City of Dusk. So watch out for that as well once I actually get to reading them. And I'm very excited to do so because I'm just so excited to see what kind of creepy stuff is happening in Gallant. And then finally, the last prompt for this specific profession is level 5, is a master blacksmith, and that is to read a series finale. Now, you guys know, I am just trash at finishing series. So the only one that's on my TBR right now that I have not finished, besides the one that I'm currently reading, Jade Legacy, is Dragon of Jinsei by K.S. Veloso. So I'm finally going to finish this book. She chonky, she big, and I'm excited to finally get into this final book in K.S. Veloso's trilogy. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So yes, that is my blacksmith profession. So that is like kind of what my idea is, to do that. And then there's a little caveat that Holly said that if you read more than 7 books in the Medieval-a-thon, you can then have a companion that starts at, you know, level 0, prisoner, and then the more books you read, the more it'll like climb up in the ranks. Because I wanted to follow more prompts for this kind of idea of like actually reading 7 books and then having a companion grow up from there, I figured that it would be kind of fun to give my companion also a profession. And I was kind of thinking about it, like all of the other professions that were available. I really liked the bard profession for this because that was one of the ones that I was also toying with between the blacksmith and the bard. So I'm going to also be reading these prompts for the bard, these 5 prompts. So level 1 is the Tavern Poet. It is basically read a book with a great first line. Now I have 2 for that also work for another prompt as well. So what did I end up deciding? So 2 could have worked for it, but I ended up going with Helm of Midnight for this one by Marina Lastetter, because this first line is very, very cool. The first line either could be, if you're going with the italic bit up here, worst of all, I am afraid. Or if you're going with the actual first line, it is the night pressed against the conservatory's windows like a wall of water, humid and thick. So incredibly atmospheric. So I'm going with this one. This one's also like a thriller fantasy, I do believe, which I'm excited for. Level 2 for the bard profession is the Traveling Troubadour, and that is a book with a travel element. And for this one, I ended up picking Year of the Reaper by Macchia Lucier, which is a little, I think it's a YA fantasy that I picked up recently that I've heard exceptional things about. And it's a little bit smaller than most of the books that I've chosen on this TBR. So I'm very excited to get into it. And most fantasy, especially like quest fantasy and that kind of thing, has a travel element to it. So I could go with any book for this, really. I was gonna go with one of the John Gwynne books, but John Gwynne's books are very thick. So that's kind of hard to do for a readathon. So I picked this one specifically for that. So it's about, you know, Lord Cassia and something about like wanting to return to his home. So I kind of figured there's probably going to be an element of travel in this. The next one, level 3, is the House Musician. Now this is a book with a title that has a character's name in it. This is where I deviate from my typical fantasy and sci-fi, and I go with Finlay Donovan Knocks Him Dead, which is the sequel to Finlay Donovan Is Killing It, which I am so excited to read. I loved Finlay Donovan Is Killing It, and this one's just gonna be great too. I know, I love how like mostly absurd these crime books are, so I'm so ready for it. Definitely be reading that one, and Finlay Donovan is the main character, so that's awesome. Level 4 of the Bard is a Bard College Student, which is a book over 400 pages, which is why I picked this one for that. It's The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood, which is another book that I've acquired recently, and it is over 400 pages. This one and the Helm of Midnight were like a toss-up between the 400 pages or the best first line, because they're both over 400 pages. And this first line is, in the deep wilds of the north, there is a shrine cut into the mountainside. An intriguing first line. But I think Helm of Midnight's first line kind of rivals it a little bit more. So I picked this one for the 400 pages prompt because it works. It's like 462 pages or something like that. And then finally the last one, level 5, Legendary Bard. This one is to read a book with multiple authors. So that I picked the graphic memoir, not a graphic memoir, the graphic biography almost. Why She Wrote. It's a graphic history of the lives, inspiration, and influence behind the pens of classic women writers. So this is by the 2 ladies who run Bonnets at Dawn, a podcast that I really like listening to, and it is literally like it's paired with text that is really interesting. Like we'll have text on Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, I should say specifically, and then they've paired it with like a graphic novel-esque story to tell their lives, which I think is really, really cool, and I'm so excited to read this and to learn about amazing women authors of, you know, history. It's gonna be very cool. Anyways, my friends, that is my TBR for the Medieval-a-thon. Now, if I've made things unclear, I will definitely tag Holly's original video in the down bar so you can go watch it to get all the rules and everything. And it starts May 1st, so you do have time to figure out your TBR and everything and kind of join in. There's also a Discord, which is very fun. I've been chatting with people on Discord for a few days now, and it's just lovely to get different people in. I'm so excited. So I think my plan is for myself to be the blacksmith and then have my companion be the bard as we go through it, which is really exciting. And I think if things kind of line up properly, my companion, it'll be all 5 levels of the blacksmith, and then 2 of the bard levels will be put towards me becoming the empress of my kingdom, and then my bard will have 3 further things. So my bard will be in the position of a knight. I'll have a knight bard, which is kind of fun. A knight bard who is a legendary bard, because I do plan on reading all 10 of these books for Medieval-a-thon, which is probably a lot, but y'all know I read a lot of books usually, so. And April was kind of a bad reading month for me, so I'm hoping that May really picks that up and I get to read all these 10 books. And I'm super excited because reading 10 books, all of these, is going to take 10 books off of my physically unread TBR, which is an incredible amount of books taken off my TBR. Like, I own all of these. I made my TBR off of what I had and what I owned, which is very exciting because y'all know I have so many unread books on my shelves. It's actually very sad. Anyways, my lovely friends, thank you so much for watching this little extra video. Let me know down below if you're gonna participate in Medieval-a-thon or if you've read any of these books. And if you've made it this far and don't know what to comment, leave me a sword emoji down below because then I'll know you made it this far in the video. And I will catch you guys in another video very, very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.